I am Anita Bowser. I am the interviewer. It is November 20th, 2024. And can you tell me your name?
Yes, my name is Alvin Vavro.
Okay. And do you go by Al?
Yes, I do go by I do go by Al. The old chipmunk thing kind of has gone by the wayside.
Okay. So Al, how long have you lived in this community?
I've lived here my entire life, 73 years.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, I've born and raised in Butler, lived in Lindora for many years, and now living in Butler Township.
So you use the library here.
Yes.
And what are some of your earliest memories of the library?
Back then, and I'm a librarian as well, but back then it was coming here to get books to read, some informational articles, and those kinds of ideas. Since then, the library has evolved tremendously. And being an educator and a former librarian, I'm very well aware of the changes that have occurred in library resources and how the library is used in these days. A whole lot differently than when I was a kid, coming here to get books to read and enjoy and things like that.
So what are some of the differences that you've seen?
Well, it has become very technologically oriented. Some of our libraries, I know, being on the school board, I know our high school library, and being at Buffalo Elementary, their elementary library has been downsized as far as books. There's not probably as many, they've weeded the collections, probably have taken out books that maybe are not circulating as much. Let's face it, kids and adults these days can get anything they want through the internet, whether it be books or, my mother, God rest his soul, and my father, God rest his soul, bought world books for me when I was a kid, or if I come to the library and use encyclopedias. Now that is totally obsolete. Nobody's buying World Book encyclopedias anymore. I don't know what the reference collection here is currently, and how much that reference section gets used, because and the other thing that makes it somewhat obsolete is artificial intelligence. That's a little scary. I work in a school, and artificial intelligence will do just about anything. They will write reports, write themes, write questions. So the library has evolved tremendously from being a location where you went to read books, do references, and things along those lines, to now where it's become a technological center.
Do you remember about how old you were when you first ventured into a library?
Well, I was probably young, 6 or 7. Things, as I said, things were much different. I went to Lindora School, which no longer exists, and they have the elementary libraries were somewhat small as far as resources. This library, I think, had, if I remember correctly, had more resources as far as children's books, and at a young age, and even today, I mean, kids do still read books. Children's books are very popular. Dr. Seuss, of course, and others, other kinds of books are also very popular with kids. So I think trying to recollect back so many years, I think my use of the library was to get children's books that I could read and enjoy. I really didn't think about it was improving my reading skills. I was just reading to enjoy, and so that's kind of what I remember about coming to the library in my early years.
Yeah. And who would bring you?
My parents. We lived in Lindora. My mother would come shopping every Saturday when the downtown was vibrant with many, many stores prior to the shopping malls that exist today, and the online Amazon and all that stuff. But anyhow, we would come, my mother would come shopping, I would come with her. I would come maybe in the evenings as well during the week if I needed something or if I wanted to get a book or do some research, things along those lines.
Do you remember some of your favorites?
Oh my. Boy, you're asking a lot.
Even genres.
Well, I mean, fairy tales, I think, were always very popular. Little Red Riding Hood and Jack and the Beanstalk, and again, Dr. Seuss. Those are the ones that come to mind most recent, or at least to my recollection.
Yeah.
Fairy tales were always, I think, very popular, and because they were imaginary. You had animals and doing things that only people could do, and the way they were able to use imagination and do things that were not able to be done by people, and that kids need that imagination, and I think I enjoyed those kind of imaginary books.
Is there anything else you'd like to say?
I am a librarian. My first job was a librarian out east. I think kids don't always realize the value of a library today. They've become so ingrained in iPads and iPhones and those kinds of things. They don't realize that there are marvelous resources here. And it's difficult to get kids to always make that connection. So I think that's as a teacher, I still teach, getting kids to realize where they can get information other than, like I said, other than the iPhones and the iPads. We do have a school library at Buffalo Elementary, which kids use. Unfortunately, I think I know what they do. They want to take the books. They get the books because, they want, whether they read them or not, or just let them sit in their desk till the next week to return them. I'm afraid in some cases that's what happens. So I hope that kids and adults will recognize the value and the resources that are available here to them and make use of them. Because I think it's a good place. It's a community. It's part of our community, and I think it's an excellent resource for people who may not be able to get the other resources, whether it's computers, whether it's research, or whether it's just resources. I think it's a wonderful place to find that information.
Thank you.
You're welcome.